Hi, my name's Sarah Fleming, and I live in Petaluma, California. I'm going to read an essay I wrote that was published in my local paper in February, and I want to give thanks to Beth Sansbury for her book, Searching for Sullies Enslaved, which helped me with some of the facts in this story. It's called Visiting Sully Plantation, Uncovering Family Secrets. I stood in the thick green grass looking at a slave dwelling at Sully Plantation, Chantilly, Virginia. The cabin was built to replicate one that had housed the people my ancestors had enslaved. It was a hot August day in 2021, 95 degrees with Virginia's drenching humidity. I heard the loud chorus of crickets, the leaves shifting in the nearby copse, and felt the heat in the breeze. I grew up knowing I was related to Robert E. Lee, my first cousin 5 times removed. My grandfather had been proud to be the grandson of a Lee. At the same time, we knew that slavery was an abomination, but never talked about our part in it. How did we reconcile these opposites from one generation to the next? How much emotional energy did it take to suppress the knowledge of terrible wrongdoing? My 4th great-grandfather and Robert E. Lee's uncle, Richard Bland Lee, served in the U.S. Congress as North Virginia's first congressman beginning at age 24. 2 years later, when his father died, Richard inherited 29 people and 1,500 acres at Sully Plantation near what is now Dulles Airport. The enslaved were listed by name and market value. There was John of Henry, or Henry's son, valued at 80 pounds. Sam the blacksmith, also 80 pounds, and Nancy of Prue, 20 pounds. There was Old Dewey, said to be of no value, and 25 more men, women, and children. Over the next 24 years, Richard bought and sold many, many more people. After too many bad loans to his profligate brothers, Richard had to sell Sully to his cousin, Francis Lightfoot Lee. I have to assume more enslaved people were sold then to pay off other debts. In 1840, 13 years after his death, Richard's wife reported owning 12 enslaved people. 2 were adult women who probably came from Sully with her, but the rest were children under the age of 10. Were they related to the 2 enslaved women or adopted when their own parents were sold away? What happened to their fathers? No relationship was honored or protected by the grisly maw of slavery. Weighed down by this legacy, I wandered around outside the slave cabin. I moved my feet in the grass to avoid the red ants that were nipping at my sandaled toes, keeping an eye out for rat snakes like the one curled in the rafters inside the quarter. And my feelings were uneasy as my shifting feet and wary eyes alert to the next gut punch, the next proof of my ancestors' cruelty, evidence of the trauma that they visited on generations of the people they enslaved. After my Sully visit, I flew west to Arizona to celebrate the birthday of my grandson, Richard Bland Lee's 6th great-grandson. His older brother Donovan was 4, the same age as Isaac, whom Richard Bland Lee sold for a shilling in 1791. I imagined my grandchild being led away forever by a stranger, and I was frozen with both horror and tears, knowing I would never have seen him again. And I was shocked at how disconnected I had been from a reality always facing enslaved people. My son had told Donovan I had visited Sully, but even so I wasn't prepared when he asked me, were the Lees bad? I searched for a way to start the conversation about these horrors that a 4-year-old could grasp. Yes, they were very bad to force people to work for no money. He understood at once, and I wondered if I were being a coward, not giving him more information. I wanted to be honest, but not traumatize him with the whole story. I have a white person's privilege to be able to moderate a conversation that Black parents don't have when racism intrudes upon their lives. After my visit to Arizona, I reflected that maybe this is how the harms done by slavery are eased. Maybe this little grandson would be the start of healing the damage caused by generations of enslavers and their oblivious descendants. Could these conversations that have begun to happen among family finally break down the pattern of denial? Since beginning this writing, I have found a Black cousin whose ancestor was sexually exploited by my white ancestor. We can assume she was forced into the relationship as he exercised his will upon her by virtue of his ownership and her inability to refuse. Despite this history, my new cousin has been warm and welcoming, and we do genealogical work together. The whispering leaves at Sully, the crickets screaming in the heat, and the red ants eternally searching remind me of what is yet to be discovered. My family story will continue to unfold, but will now be a more truthful one. Thank you.